bé que acabin, perquè ara hi ha distracció aquí. Vale, doncs, si vols, jo començo, foto el rotllet, i com que després has de continuar parlant tu, dones els advices que vulguis. Et sembla, vull dir, el que hagis de dir?
Sí, sí, no és tocat, jo també tinc una segona quatre notes.
Sí? Vale. Bien. Let's go. Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to all of you. Welcome to the FEST conference audience and welcome to all of you participants in this outreach session this evening. My name is Cristina Gelpi and I'm the Assistant Manager of the Department of Translation and Language Sciences here at Universitat Pompeu Fabra. As you know, this outreach session is a part of FEST conference, the Formal Experimental Advances in Sign Language Theory. And this outreach session is an academic meeting open to the society, that is, to social agents linked to sign languages, to stakeholders and language planners and policy makers, as well as the general public. I want to thank everybody for coming, and particularly to social agents who have confirmed the attendance. That is the Turkish Ministry of National Education, the representatives of Generalitat de Catalunya, the Government of Catalonia, the Department of Política Lingüística, el Departament d'Ensenyament, el Servei d'Atenció a la Diversitat, Customer Service and Diversity, the representatives of some associations, the Dobenschaft, I'm sorry if I don't pronounce well the name, this is the Netherlands Deaf Association, the FESOCA, the Catalan Deaf Association, and also I want to thank Gallaudet University representatives that are here. This outreach session happens in our communication campus, and it is a special moment, for our university, and this is not a coincidence. This campus is named Campus de la Comunicació in Catalan, Communication Campus, because it holds the University Pompeu Fabra main studies related to language and communication, that is, translation and interpreting, applied linguistics, language sciences, communication, advertising, public relations, and technology. And we are proud to be one of the few universities offering a degree in translation and interpreting with training in Catalan Sign Language. Here is placed the SCS lab, the research unit led by Josep Quer, which is aimed at the description and formal analysis of sign language grammars with a main focus on the grammar of Catalan Sign Language. As a young, public, and modern university, we are committed to improvement of teaching and research quality, of course, but we also are firmly convinced that we should contribute to improve citizens' quality of life. In this regard, we are convinced that to find ways to improve daily needs of deaf people is important, absolutely. But beyond solving practical problems, we should promote a long-term strategy to reach these purposes. And this is one of the reasons why this session is very important and makes sense, because it reinforces the idea that linguistic research contribute to the full participation of deaf signers as citizens in public life in Europe and beyond, now and in the future. Today's session will focus to the grammars of sign languages for the rights of deaf people. It will clearly show that grammars are essential for the documentation of a linguistic and cultural European heritage that still remains unrecognized. To put grammars available to signer communities, to policymakers, to linguists, and to society in general, will reinforce the status of sign languages and will encourage the full participation of users in the society. The meeting, as you know, is organized into 3 sections. First of all, we have some words of Josep Kerr, and then we will have a presentation by Josep Kerr and Carlo Cecchetto, a SignGram presentation of Blueprint. After a short break, we will continue with 3 panels presented by Diane Lilo-Martin, Christian Rathman, and Bensi Wall. Those 3 panels will be followed by a panel discussion, and the session will finish with the contribution of Benjamin Bahan, an invited speaker. I cannot close, but without congratulating the organizers of the session and their excellent support team for this meeting, which gives us the opportunity to meet and exchange knowledge and experiences, as well as a crucial time to promote cooperation between areas that are too often isolated. And straight away, I shall give the floor to Josep, and thank you very much, and enjoy.
Thank you very much, Cristina. And I'll be very brief, I hope. We are here because we have had this project for 4 years, the SignGram Cost Action, and we'll try to explain, especially in this session, what we have been doing, which is essentially promoting and doing sign language research in Europe, but also beyond Europe. The main result of this project is a research tool for sign languages. It's called the SignGram Blueprint. And in the presentation that will follow this opening, Carlo Cecchetto and I will try to explain in a simple way what it is and at what stage we are at now. But also, it's important for us in this session to explore the expected impact that we think it should have for sign language research. And that's why we have organized this panel session with different experts in a number of areas, not all of them, but important areas that we think should benefit from the existence of this blueprint, this SignGram blueprint. And although this is the main result of our project, there has been a lot of activity around this blueprint. One of the most visible activities has been the organization of a yearly conference, FEAST, which actually this outreach session is part of, which is essentially a linguistics conference where researchers present their results and share their comments, they give feedback, etc., etc. So it's a typical scientific conference. What's special about this session is that we open it to the general public, as Cristina said, also to stakeholders and language users to get to explain the work that we do, but also to get feedback that could improve the impact of our work. Actually, FEAST is a conference that takes place every year, and we hope it will continue. We assume that it will continue after the end of the action, because it has occupied an important area of research in Europe, I would say also globally. which is formal and experimental study of sign languages. Well, apart from the conference, we've also organized regular training schools in sign linguistics, sign language research. And this is especially important for the field because what we've tried to do is disseminate knowledge among linguistic students and sign linguistic students who are the new generation in the field. So it's a way of expanding the impact and the consequences of our project as well. And last but not least, one of the instruments of cost actions is scientific missions. And scientific missions are, put in a simple way, short stays of research in some of the units involved in the network. So when we have a researcher that wants to do some research in another center associated to the network, he or she gets some funding to do this work. And this is geared at, especially geared at early stage researchers. So again, young researchers that are essentially our future. Of course, senior researchers have also participated in scientific missions, but these are the main features of this type of activity. So as a whole, although we'll be talking mainly about the SignGram blueprint, which is the visible result of the project, there has been a lot of activity around it, and we hope that this will also enhance the liveliness of the field for the years to come. So, to cut it short, in a minute we'll explain what we have done, but we also expect feedback to the extent that you are ready to provide it from stakeholders, policymakers, and sign language users. We thank you all for joining us in this last event of the network, which is finishing at the end of this month. And I would also like to invite you, this is not on the program, but after the closing of this session, we'll have a small reception here in the foyer, and we'll be happy to meet you in a more informal situation after the talks and the panel discussions. And since I'm also involved in the organization, I need to make a reminder, which is that we expect you to give the name tags back before you leave the conference, because we will recycle them. So without much ado, this is what I had to say so far, and we can proceed with the rest of the program.
Sí, però jo no puc fer la presentació i res, no, que comença el vosaltres directament ja.